Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Real Talk with Real DJs. Today is a special event. You will not believe who I have with me today. This is Chris After Dark. Chris, thank you for being on the show.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate it.
It's been a while. Look, this guy's so busy. He's not, well, I don't want to say too much. I want to let him say everything. However, he is a one hard-working DJ that's doing more than just DJing. So let's get started. Chris After Dark. Is that your real name?
Yeah, I mean, I got that name. It's the first club I ever DJ'd.
Okay.
It's called After Dark. So,
okay,
like, that was the beginning, and that's gonna be the end. You know, after going through different names and stuff, you know, like that's the first club I ever DJ'd. So I just went back to the beginning and the roots.
Well, hold on. Let's back this up. Where were you born?
Michigan. I lived in Detroit, Hamtramck. You know, I lived in you know, different areas of Michigan. So I was born in Michigan.
Well, then in Detroit, growing up, obviously a lot of music. What were you listening to? What was your influence?
It was house and techno, man. Like, you know, I always listen to house and techno, electronic music. You know, the stuff all our parents told us not to fucking listen to. You know.
Right.
You know.
All right.
And drug music.
Stop. All right. No.
Well, that's what they said.
You know? I know that's what they exactly. That's what the parents said back in the day. Stay away from drugs.
Exactly.
All right. So, let's talk a little bit here because you're from Detroit. You're right here in Orlando, Florida. You came down. You had your influence as far as growing up, but I want to talk about your DJing. So, like, when did you figure out, like, when you were growing up, hey, I like this. I want to get into it. I want to be a DJ.
Well, I mean, I did high school parties, college parties, and stuff like that. I just love watching people move on a floor, you know. And then, like, that took me into actually working with some badass DJs, you know, like going to clubs, and it moved me out of the college parties up into the club atmosphere, and then just watching people move, man. It was always my thing.
All right, well, then let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you spin. What are you spinning? What are you spinning right now?
I love house and dark techno, man. I do a little bit of drum and bass. I always have that drum and bass flair from Detroit. We had Detroit Electro. I love that, you know, like I kind of picked back up on that a little bit coming down here, you know, Florida. You know, that's your guys' thing, you know, electro breaks, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got to show respect for the place I'm at, you know, and I can bring that flair with that Detroit down here, you know. Like, I didn't play with it a lot up there, but I see what, you know, I see the...
Chris, listen, I see your love. I know what you're doing. We're not even going to talk about the promotional stuff. We'll do that next segment. But for now, folks, I want you guys to actually experience and listen to what he's all about. Enjoy. Did you guys hear that? Man, Chris, what can they find you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we got scienceofsoundproductions.com. You know, me and my business partner, Nikki, you know, Nikki Nocturnal, she's been a, you know, a huge, you know, supporter in building all this. Like, you know, I couldn't have done it without her. You know, she has all that technical background, and she's pushed me to make this a company, you know, and, like, we've made this a company and grew with this. And we're just all about, you know, the artist, making sure that artists can, you know, paint their canvases and play these, you know, do these shows.
Let me ask you, hold on, let me just take it back a minute. Robbie Weeks introduced me to Chris After Dark at an event. And since I've met him, since he's been down here, he has gotten a lot of backlash from different groups or whatever. Point is, he's from Detroit, but then he's also received a lot of love, which is what we're all about here in Florida. And just please go back to the scene.
I mean,
That's
the reality of it is the people who love me are the artists. The people who don't love me are the people who are fake about this. You know, they're out there trying to play the pre-recorded sets, the sync buttons. You know, they're all.
Forget about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. All right. If you're a real DJ, hold on. If you're a real DJ, let's talk about this. Digital versus vinyl. Did you play vinyl? Are you a real DJ?
I played vinyl. Yes, and it just came to the point where it's like I couldn't keep that collection.
Okay.
You know, we all know it's easier to just bounce around on a flash drive. You know, you're not traveling with a bunch of vinyls. You know, you don't have to store them somewhere. You know, like I did play vinyl.
Okay, well then let's go back to the beat matching part, the sync button. Then is that something that should be used? Should it not be used? What do you think?
My whole opinion on it is, if you're using it and you're doing modular stuff or you're doing some digital stuff like live sets.
Okay, like live PA.
Yeah, and you're doing stuff right on the fly and you're running 4 decks and slamming the shit out of something. It's a tool.
Okay.
But don't use it to beat match. Don't use it to set a basic setup and some tech house shit. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, come on. All you know, we all use the tools. We all have buttons on this thing. Like, figure out how to use the buttons, man. You know, everybody.
Okay. Well, hold on. Then let's talk about this then. Preserving the pitch. What are your thoughts on this whole scene, on the DJ scene, where it's going? What would you do to preserve the pitch? Like, what would you do? Like, how would you like preserve the scene?
I think that the younger crowd and the older crowd of DJs, or the younger generation of DJs, need to embrace the fact that some of these older DJs are on their way out. I mean, they've been doing this a long time.
Okay.
You know, what they've learned and what they've done for the community, you know, with the vinyl and the mixing and what they had to do to create a set and their artistry, it is getting lost because...
Dude, stop with the last question. Hold on. No, let me back up. Okay, let me say this. Let me interject here and say this. We've talked before.
Yeah.
And we've talked before about maybe possibly having a vinyl night called a Dead Drop Vinyl Nights. Which,
for sure.
Okay. So there is a way to actually preserve it, but then now you're talking about something, which is my next question. What do you consider this? Well, is this a lost art?
No, it's not. But the thing is like, you know, we can have our vinyl nights. But what we got to remember is, like, some of these DJs are older now, man. They're not even coming out and playing. You know, so we can have a vinyl night, but it's hard to find vinyl DJs.
You're right. Okay, but hold on. Let me interject again and say this. Okay, let's say we do a vinyl night. Let's say SOS. Let's say Lost Star. Let's say everyone gets behind it. But then it's not just a vinyl night, but a night for the digital younger generation to come, learn beat matching, and then the older dudes that never, like me, never went digital, all right, to learn. Hey, this is a controller. This is how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I'm all about that. Let's bring the two communities together, because these guys are a wealth of knowledge.
Hell yeah.
You know, I mean, my mentors in Detroit, growing up, you know, around them people. And,
Who were they?
Like I mean, we worked with Night Sneak. You know, I've worked with Detroit Techno Militia and Techno Snob. These guys watching their shows. Mike Clark, I mean, huge house DJ. You know, Augustus Williams, huge modular and doing stuff. You know,
I'm talking about this, but dude, I've heard your look. I'm sorry, folks. I went to a show that SOS threw down, and him and Bad Daddy, which I interviewed before, did a set, and it was a break set. And I'll tell you what, man, Detroit breaks. Look, Orlando breaks is awesome. I love it. And Florida and Miami bass, I love it all. But Detroit breaks is so different. That's like, you appreciate that shit, dude. And
it's not even about that. It's about two artists together. You know, Bad Daddy's an artist. I'm an artist. So if you have two artists standing there on turntables or digital equipment, you know, they can feed off each other. I love back-to-back sets. I love working with, you know, seeing what somebody else can feed off my energy, and the energy is coming together to make fucking art. You know, I can play the same set all the time. You know, I can play the same downloaded songs. But, you know, if I got a set of downloaded songs I like and they got downloaded songs they like, it becomes something I'm never going to be able to put together again. You know, and that's art to me, you know.
Yeah, it's something that you can't replicate.
But also at the same time, you have to be an artist to be able to work with someone and feel that flow. You know?
Okay, listen, folks. I'm sorry. I usually don't talk, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to mention names, but there is beef going on in the DJ world, as you all know. I'm not going to mention names again. And what he's saying is so right, though. Like, instead of making a beef thing, you know, like back in the day when we said we were battling, we were actually having fun and seeing, you know, what I could learn from him and what he can learn from me type of situation. It wasn't like a mother or whatever the case might be. The point is that.
Well, the biggest thing now is that, like, DJing to me has became a popularity contest. You know, it's like, can I put all the top tracks together? Can I pay all the money for the top tracks and get, you know, 50 people to show up at my event? You know, it's like, this was never a popularity contest for us. The people who did this, they did it for the art of it. It was to create something nobody else is going to ever be able to hear. It's to bring music nobody else can download or find out to the community. You know, it's like all our friends that were giving us vinyl records and giving us digital downloads of stuff that's unreleased. You know, I'm playing some music that will never go to mainstream. It will never go to Spotify or be found on SoundCloud.
Are they called like bedroom producers, maybe?
Well, these guys are legend producers that produce in their bedroom, and they give tracks, you know, or they'll produce in their living room. And they're giving tracks to people who know that are preserving what we care about.
Do you hear that?
And they're letting you have them, you know, exclusively to put them out there. Because they want people to listen to your music and be like, hey, did he create that? Where did that come from? You know?
And that's the journey, dude. That's what I meant. It's like once somebody hears something like, wow, what is that? They're like, and then they start doing the research.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, I never had to be a badass producer. I never had to make 1 million tracks to play big stages, you know, but I have friends that did the work, you know. They created the tracks that put me in good spots, put me in very amazing places, you know, because I was playing their stuff and sharing it to the world, and I was like, man, that's a badass set.
How long have you been DJing for?
I started when I was like 16, 17.
All right.
You know, doing, you know, like the college parties, like I said, high school parties and shit.
Okay.
You know, and then, you know, I'm 40 now, so it's been a long time, man.
Listen, I'll tell you this real quick so everyone understands what's going on. I do put a lot of stuff out by SOS as far as the events that they're doing because of that simple fact. They're bringing back the love. Like back in the day, we had a community of ravers that everyone helped everyone out. Why? Because we're like, hey, how can I help you? And it was beautiful. It was awesome. Anti-rave laws messed it up. They took out what the hippies did back in the 60s, where things became better because they were doing what the rave scene was doing back in the day.
And what you got to realize with all this is you can't do it alone. It's a big battle. This is a big conglomerate. You have to do it with people, you know. My business partner, Nikki, she is the rock. She's created this. I don't know. I didn't know technical. I didn't know software. I didn't know, you know, internet stuff, web pages.
He's a NASA engineer. I'm sorry. I had to put that in there. He's saying, I don't know if this or that. But you know it for NASA. But go ahead.
But I'm a mechanical guy, you know. Like, I'll turn a wrench. You know, but I had to find somebody that could do all that stuff and do the research on that and kick ass with that. You know, it's a team, you know, and then working with people who are all part of the team. None of us can do this. If you're a DJ who thinks you're going to go famous just on your own, you're screwed. You know, it doesn't work that way.
You need a family.
Yeah, you need a family. You need to build a family. People who support you, you know, people who are in your corner doing work when you don't even ask them to do work, you know.
Amen. All right.
You know, and me and her decided to start this thing 5 years ago to protect the art in this music, you know. I mean, you know, to put on DJs who don't get chances because, you know, they're not super popular or they don't look super awesome or they don't got huge Instagram followers, you know.
Right.
We don't care about none of that. You know, we've put on DJs that don't have no social media.
The point is
play.
Talent. That's the whole point. Talent.
You know?
Talent.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Talent. They look for talent.
Yeah.
If it sounds good, you think it sounds good, come to SOS. Show them what you have.
Exactly.
Let them take care of you. That's part of the process.
Exactly. And that's what's always been for us. It's like we don't care about none of the mainstream stuff. You know, You
mean like festivals?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, like, we all want to play them, you know, and I love the opportunities we've had to play these places, you know, but for us, the artists that work for us and do our shows are artists, you know, forefront. They're artists. I don't care if you come modular, I don't care if you come vinyl, I don't care if you come with dubstep, you know, like, even if it's a genre I'm not one that, you know, follows all the time, be an artist when you come with it, you know? And we have dubstep artists on our label too, you know, and they're badass. They're artists.
All right.
You know, and we've known them, you know, all of my career. I mean, I've known, you know, the one we have Megahertz on our label, you know, badass, you know, DJ, badass group. You know, these guys have worked with, you know, Subcarbon and Subsidia, you know, and, you know, we have a small group of, you know, dubstep guys, but they are good. You know, they're artists.
Hold on. Let me interject one more time. Listen, just real quick so you guys understand how this all actually happened. NASA thought he was super bright and said, hey, let's pay for this guy to come down here so that he can work for us. Bam. He comes down, and he brought the Detroit love. You see, that's the difference. You can come down here and be like, oh, I want, like he said, I want to be a famous DJ, blah, 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 do it on my own. But he came looking for a family, and he found a lot of good people. Look, I love this guy. I do. He's a great guy, good person, a good producer, a good DJ, and I like what he's trying to do, because this is all about. It's all about bringing what we had before back, so that everyone remembers, maybe our kids will remember that it was never about, hey, I'm a partier, let's go get fucked up. But it was really about...
And you know, I'll tell you, like, a lot of the DJs that we have on our shows and our sets and that we, you know, promote for and put on our label, we're walk-on DJs. You know, we put out posts. Hey, you want to play house, you want to play techno, you want to play drum and bass, whatever, you know, whatever the show comes, you know, come with that mission, you know, come with the assignment. That's what we are asking for. And we've met a lot of amazing DJs that way. You know, I mean, when you introduced me and you had Bad Day come out, you know, I told you I wanted techno. You're like, I got a guy that can play techno. You know, I'm taking a chance. I didn't know he was going to come out and slam fucking techno.
Whatever, dude. Bad Daddy's awesome, man. Bad Daddy's, he's awesome, dude. That was my first interview, by the way. Go back. If you don't know, go back.
But that's what I'm asking for. You know, come with the assignment. You know, if we ask you to come, don't tell me you can do techno and come out with house. You know, don't just try to get on the, you know, stage. That ain't going to get you anywhere. You know, I play every genre. I can mix any genre.
And we're going to find out here in a minute. So anyway, hey, Chris, I love you, bro, but we got to cut this because hey, man, listen, real quick, folks. I want to say something. Again, SOS, Party Line, you'll never, ever miss a party. And the people that he is bringing to it. Look, I don't know if you guys already seen. He's in cahoots, if you want to call it that, with 77 Deuce. There is a lot of people that want to work with SOS because they know what they're trying to bring. And like I said, it's been a long time that I wanted to get this interview done. I didn't get it done. It's done today. And
it's an overall atmosphere for us. Like, it ain't just about the crowd, it ain't just about the show or the DJs. It's all around. Like, I want the whole experience. You know, me and Nikki worked on making the whole experience good for everybody. You know, and that's what it comes down to. Yeah, you know, it comes down to people standing on the stage to the people walking on the floor. You know, I want the fans, I want everybody to be a community and a family.
That's it,
like
man.
it used to be, you know, like
I said, yeah. Come on, give me a hug, bitch.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Right here, brother.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not marriage. Maybe it's love.
Well, whatever it is, pray that it never hits you.
I've got a feeling love don't have to be the way you say it.
Well, gotta be that way with me.
hits love.
Well, whatever it is, pray that it never hits you.
I've got a feeling love don't have to be the way you say it is.